Kafka Hibino had spent most of his life chasing a dream that always seemed just beyond his reach. As a child, he had stood beside his fearless friend Mina Ashiro while giant monsters, known as Kaiju, destroyed their hometown. Watching brave Defense Force soldiers fight to protect innocent people inspired both children to make a promise. They swore that one day they would stand together as elite warriors and defeat the monsters threatening humanity. Years passed, but life took them in very different directions. Mina's incredible talent earned her a place among the strongest officers in the Japan Anti-Kaiju Defense Force, where she quickly became a legendary commander admired across the nation. Kafka, however, repeatedly failed the entrance examination, and with every failure his confidence slowly disappeared. Eventually, he accepted a humble job with a professional cleanup company responsible for removing the enormous remains of defeated kaiju after every battle. While the Defense Force received praise and glory, Kafka and his co-workers worked quietly behind the scenes, cutting apart massive corpses, disposing of dangerous organs, and enduring unbearable smells that reminded them of dreams left behind. Although he tried to convince himself that his ordinary life was enough, every news report showing Mina's victories reopened the old wound in his heart. Everything changed when Kafka met Reno Ichikawa, a determined young recruit who had joined the cleanup crew only temporarily before attempting the Defense Force examination. Reno respected the soldiers protecting humanity and was surprised to learn that Kafka had once shared the same ambition. Their conversations awakened feelings Kafka had buried for years, making him question whether it was truly too late to pursue his childhood promise. During one cleanup assignment, a hidden kaiju suddenly attacked, catching the workers completely off guard. Kafka instinctively threw himself into danger to protect Reno, suffering serious injuries in the process. Both survived thanks to the timely arrival of Defense Force soldiers, but the terrifying encounter reminded Kafka that courage had never completely disappeared from his heart. While recovering in the hospital, Kafka made a heartfelt decision. Despite being 32 years old, far older than most applicants, he would challenge the Defense Force examination one final time and refuse to live with regret. Reno immediately supported him, promising they would train together and enter the exams as comrades rather than strangers. That hopeful night, however, destiny prepared an unimaginable twist. As Kafka rested in his hospital bed, a tiny, mysterious, flying creature resembling a glowing parasite suddenly entered through the open window. Before Kafka could react, the strange being rushed directly into his mouth. A wave of unbearable pain exploded throughout his body as his bones cracked. Muscles expanded, and unimaginable energy surged through every part of him. His vision blurred, his heartbeat thundered, and his entire existence began transforming into something neither human nor ordinary. When the agonizing process finally ended, Kafka unknowingly stood at the edge of a destiny that would forever change his life, humanity's future, and the endless war against the terrifying kaiju. Kafka stumbled out of the hospital in complete disbelief, unable to understand the horrifying transformation that had overtaken his body. At first glance, he looked perfectly normal, but the moment he felt intense emotion or focused on the strange power flowing through him, his entire appearance changed into that of a powerful humanoid kaiju covered in dark armored skin, glowing eyes, and overwhelming physical strength. Terrified by what he had become, Kafka rushed to find a place where no one could see him. Reno eventually discovered his secret after witnessing Kafka accidentally transform while trying to stop another kaiju attack. Instead of abandoning him, Reno realized that Kafka's heart had remained completely human despite his monstrous appearance. He promised to protect Kafka's secret, believing that his friend still wanted to save people rather than harm them. Soon afterward, both of them reported for the entrance examination of the Japan Anti-Kaiju Defense Force. Hundreds of talented applicants gathered at the testing grounds, each hoping to earn the honor of becoming a defender of humanity. Kafka immediately felt outmatched. Most candidates were younger, faster, and physically stronger, while he struggled to keep up during the endurance tests because of his age. Among the recruits was the exceptionally skilled Kikoru, Shinomiya, the daughter of the Defense Force's director and a natural genius who defeated kaiju with incredible speed and confidence. Her flawless performance made every other candidate seem ordinary. During the practical examination, everything changed when powerful kaiju unexpectedly appeared, turning the test into a real battle for survival. Many recruits froze in fear, but Kafka ignored his own safety and rushed toward injured candidates trapped beneath collapsing debris. Rather than chasing points or recognition, he focused entirely on rescuing lives. Reno fought bravely against the smaller kaiju while Kikoru displayed extraordinary combat abilities against the larger monsters. Suddenly, a terrifying, intelligent kaiju emerged and overwhelmed everyone present. The recruits were powerless against its immense strength, and even Kikoru found herself trapped beneath the rubble, unable to escape. Knowing there was no other choice, Kafka secretly transformed into his kaiju form. In a single explosive movement, he shattered the massive debris, rescued Kikoru, and unleashed a devastating punch that completely destroyed the powerful monster. The unbelievable display of strength saved countless lives, but Kafka quickly escaped before anyone could identify him. Although the mysterious humanoid kaiju disappeared without leaving any clues, the Defense Force immediately recognized that a creature unlike any they had ever encountered now existed. They assigned it the identification Kaiju No. 8, marking it as a new and extremely dangerous threat to humanity. Meanwhile, Kafka returned to the examination grounds in his human form, pretending that nothing unusual had happened. The surviving recruits celebrated their rescue, completely unaware that one of their own had secretly become the mysterious kaiju responsible for saving them. As the examination results were announced, Kafka feared that his poor physical performance had ruined his final opportunity forever. However, the officers noticed his courage, selflessness, and unwavering determination to protect others, qualities that could never be measured by simple scores. Against all expectations, Kafka Hibino was accepted into the Defense Force as a probationary officer. His lifelong dream had finally come true, but it came with a terrifying burden. Every mission from that day forward would force him to hide the greatest secret in the world. The strongest weapon against the kaiju was, in fact, a man who had become one of them. Kafka Hibino officially began his training as a new member of the Japan Anti-Kaiju Defense Force. But his greatest battle was no longer against the monsters outside the walls. It was against the monster living inside himself. Every day, he trained alongside Reno Ichikawa, Kikoru Shinomiya, and the other recruits, learning military discipline, advanced combat techniques, and the proper use of specialized anti-kaiju weapons. Unlike the younger soldiers, Kafka struggled to match their speed and physical performance. Yet his years of working in kaiju cleanup gave him unmatched knowledge of kaiju anatomy, weak points, and behavior. His experience often allowed his squad to make smarter tactical decisions, earning the respect of teammates who had initially underestimated him. Even so, Kafka constantly feared losing control of his kaiju powers. During training and missions, he had to suppress every instinct to transform, knowing that a single mistake could expose his secret and turn his comrades against him. Reno remained the only person who fully understood the burden Kafka carried, and he continued encouraging his friend to use his extraordinary abilities only when innocent lives were at stake. Before long, the new recruits faced their first real deployment when another massive kaiju attack struck a populated district. Chaos erupted as giant creatures tore through buildings, forcing civilians to flee while Defense Force units rushed into combat. Kafka desperately wanted to fight at full strength, but revealing his identity would almost certainly mean execution. He tried to support the operation as an ordinary soldier until the situation became hopeless. Powerful kaiju overwhelmed several squads, and many soldiers were seriously injured. Realizing there was no other way to save them, Kafka secretly transformed into Kaiju No. 8 once again. Moving with unbelievable speed, He crushed giant monsters with a single blow, rescued trapped civilians, and protected his fellow officers before disappearing into the shadows whenever witnesses approached. Although the Defense Force celebrated the mysterious Kaiju's intervention, commanders became increasingly determined to capture or eliminate this unknown creature, believing that no Kaiju could truly be trusted. At the same time, a far greater danger quietly emerged behind the scenes. A mysterious humanoid Kaiju capable of perfectly disguising itself as a human began carrying out a disturbing plan. Unlike ordinary Kaiju, driven only by instinct, this intelligent enemy possessed strategic thinking, speech, and the ability to create stronger monsters for coordinated attacks against humanity. It viewed Kafka as an anomaly, a being who existed between human and Kaiju, and became fascinated by his unique transformation. While the Defense Force searched for Kaiju No. 8 and prepared for larger battles, this hidden enemy carefully observed Kafka from the shadows, waiting for the perfect opportunity to exploit his existence. Unaware of the growing threat, Kafka continued risking everything to protect both humanity and the friends who would never accept the truth if they discovered it. His dream of fighting beside Mina Ashiro had finally become reality, but every mission forced him to choose between preserving his identity and saving innocent lives. With powerful new enemies appearing, intelligent Kaiju evolving faster than ever before, and suspicion within the Defense Force steadily increasing, Kafka realized that the greatest war in human history had only just begun, and the fate of both humans and Kaiju would soon depend on the impossible choices of the man known as Kaiju No. 8.